everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to basically, decide out of all of my eye palettes which ones I think are best for fall, kind of by their color stories and quality. Today I will be rating my top 10 fall eyeshadow palettes. If you need any help picking out, a new eyeshadow palette, specifically one that is great for fall, then I've got you. Please like and subscribe to my channel, and I'm gonna start rating palettes now. First up, I'm going to start with my number 10 palette. So I guess my least favorite, but it's still such a good palette. Keep that in mind as I'm rating them from like 1 to 10. I would recommend all of these palettes to you, otherwise I wouldn't have them here right now. Number 10 palette is from ColourPop actually. This is ColourPop's Frozen 2 Anna eyeshadow palette. And I know what you're thinking, a Frozen palette is one of your favorite fall palettes. But it's actually just, it's such a beautiful palette. Though this one retails for $16 US on the ColourPop website. And when you open this palette up, you just have so many. You look in the palette here, they actually have some beautiful fall tones, and I think that this is a really good size because you could easily bring this places, you could travel with this, you could just do so much. So I would recommend this palette. This is my number 10. My number 9 palette, I actually got this one in a BoxyCharm. This one and another one by the same brand, and it's making me really fall in love with this brand. This is the Hip Dot Xeon palette. This one retails for $20 US. When you open this palette up, it's just so beautiful. You have a bunch of oranges, but they're just all very complimentary for fall colors. I think my favorite in the palette is Angel's Landing. Yeah, that one is just a beautiful, beautiful shade. I would recommend this palette here. We're moving along to palette number 8. I actually did a giveaway of this palette. It's such a beautiful, beautiful palette. I think I ordered this on BoxyCharm add-ons one month or something. I think that's how I got it. But this one is the Zoeva Caramel Meringue palette, and this one retails for $28 US. It's currently on sale for $19.60 on their website, and this palette here is such a dream. It's just so pretty. You have so many different like orangey shades in here, and you have some copper shimmers, and it's just such a beautiful, beautiful palette. The reason that this is ranking so low is because I have a lot of really high-end palettes that I just absolutely love, kind of snagging the top spots, but otherwise, like, this is such a good palette. Good eyeshadow palette is not going to be super cheap. It's just not. I'm not a huge fan of drugstore palettes. I'm just not. I think that sometimes you have to pay for good, high quality performing eyeshadows. These eyeshadows are all very high quality, and these ones are the more reasonable ones. I mean, you're still going to be paying like $20, $25 for a good eyeshadow palette, so just keep that in mind. Number 7, I don't actually have it here with me. I have it currently in Calgary right now, but this one is the Huda Beauty Nude Obsessions eyeshadow palette, specifically in shade medium. This one has a lot of really pretty browns and shimmer shades. It has like a dark purple shade that's just so pretty, especially for fall. This palette though is so pretty, not even just for fall, like it's just a really pretty everyday makeup look, but I think that these shades are really, really pretty in the fall time. This palette in particular, I think because I have really fair skin, my best palette for this one is the Nude Light palette. However, I think if I wore that it'd be a little more springy, but I like the Nude Medium because it does show up a little bit darker on me. This palette retails for $27 US or $38 Canadian. I'm looking on Sephora right now and it currently says out of stock, so I think that this color is a really popular one. But yeah, it'll get restocked and then you can purchase it, but highly recommend that palette as well. Next up for number 6, we have a high-end palette, which I don't have here with me right now. but I do have a dupe for it here. It's the Huda Beauty Rose Gold palette. This one retails for $65 US or $82 Canadian. The dupe for this one though that I would also recommend is the You Can Be Twilight and Dusk eyeshadow palette. This one is $15 US, so you save a lot of money by buying this one. I got this one from Amazon, so it was super easy to deliver, so I would actually recommend probably this one over the Huda Beauty one, just because you save a lot of money. But the color story itself, like, you have a lot of really pretty like reds in here, golds. I mean, I think this could even be a really pretty palette for like Christmas as well. I think that mixing like a lot of these shades, you could get a really pretty fall look. Yes, that's number 6. The next one is very gimmicky. Sometimes I just buy into some of the gimmicks and whatever. This one is the Too Faced Salted Caramel eyeshadow palette, and this one in particular they don't sell anymore. They come out with new ones every year. But when I looked on Sephora, the palette that this actually looks the most like is this year's release. It's called the Kitty Likes to Scratch mini palette. That's the one they have available right now. But if you compare these two side by side, with the exception of a couple of colors, they are very, very similar. That one retails for $27 US or $36 Canadian. What I love about this one, so this salted caramel, so the packaging itself is very fall. And then you open it and you have these beautiful, beautiful oranges and orange glitters, and it's just so pretty. But then you smell it. Oh, it smells so good, and it smells like fall. I don't know, this one's more of like an experience. In terms of the eyeshadow quality, Too Faced actually has very good eyeshadows. If you already have some of these like holiday ones, I wouldn't necessarily rebuy them every year unless that's your thing. Like, for example, I'm not going to be buying the new ones this year because I feel like I have this one and this is all I really need. But they also make the big ones that kind of give off more Christmassy vibes, but the smaller ones I think are more fall-like. I would definitely recommend this palette if you're big on like the gimmicks and the scents and just all of that. That's a really good palette. My top 4 palettes, I actually have none of them here with me right now, which now that I think about it, that doesn't make sense. If these are my top 4 palettes that I like to use, why are they not here? And again, because they're in Alberta, and I'm mostly in Alberta, so I like keeping those there. Again, they might have to be brought back here because I do really miss them right now, and I'm here a little bit longer than I thought I would. Anyways, number 4 palette is the Urban Decay Naked Heat. This one is $54 US or $68 Canadian. And this one is an awesome palette for fall. You have so many oranges and bronze shades, and it's almost like an ombre of orange. And Urban Decay Naked palette shadows blend phenomenally. It's such a good palette. So you put it on your eyes and you can really blend an array of orange together to create your own like custom shade. And it's just such a beautiful palette. So I would highly, highly recommend that one or any of Urban Decay's palettes, but that one in particular is very good for fall. Number 3 is the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. This one won Beauty Award for, I think it was like 2018. Such a beautiful palette. When you open it up, you have a lot of oranges, reds, some neutrals, but then you have some pops of purple that would just, and they're very, very fall purple shades. Like, they're so beautiful. And this palette is just, it's a solid palette, solid quality. I would actually say this is probably one of like her best eyeshadow palettes. That's on her website right now. This one normally retails for $65 US or $82 Canadian, but they're currently on sale for half off, and they have been for, I want to say like 2 months now. So I don't know if that means that it's getting discontinued. I really hope it doesn't. but it could mean that. So if you do want this palette, go and get it right now because you can get it for half off. So if you're from Canada, it's like $41 Canadian or $32.50 I think US. Anyways, that one I would highly recommend. Go get it for fall. Beautiful, beautiful palette. And again, it's half off, so you're really getting your money's worth. So go check out that palette. We are almost done here. We are down to top 2. The second eyeshadow palette I would recommend to you is Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Hypnotize eyeshadow palette. This was her holiday one that came out last year. It's still available on her website though. And this one I actually got for Christmas last year, and it is beautiful. This one retails for $75 US or $95 Canadian, which I know it's a lot. I'm not at all saying this one is the most affordable, because it's not. It's a very expensive palette, but it is beautiful, and if you want something really high quality, you can't go wrong with Charlotte Tilbury. You open up this palette and there's just browns, more nudes, just I don't even know how to describe it. It's just such a beautiful, really everyday eyeshadow palette it could be, but for fall particularly, I think it gives you such a beautiful eye look. But yeah, I would highly recommend that one. Technically, what was supposed to be my number 2 though, it would have bumped all the numbers down, but I realized they discontinued it, so I just couldn't even mention it. But I feel like I have to give it at least an honorable mention. And if you happen to have this palette, then like, go you, and if not, I'm so sorry, you can't buy it anymore. But I would say the Naked 2 is just beautiful. So lovely. Same thing with the Naked Reloaded. But yeah, they're discontinued, so I'm not going to include them in my ranking. However, I need to mention them because they're great palettes. My number 1 fall palette, and one of my absolute favorite Natasha Denona palettes. And of course, like, Natasha Denona was going to be number 1 on this list because she does make my favorite eyeshadows, hands down, across the board. But my number 1 palette is the Natasha Denona Bronze Palette. This palette is, again, one of those palettes that you could use it yearly. It's not at all limited to fall. It's such a beautiful palette. However, the fall time is when I think this palette really thrives. It is a bronze palette. You open it up and it's filled with all sorts of like browns and coppers and these beautiful golds, and oh my goodness, it's just such a beautiful palette. And you could also use it in like the Christmas season too. Some of the reds in there are really pretty. However, it's just, to me, it's like a beautiful fall sunset palette. It really is. I actually was thinking about even mentioning her sunrise palette. Yes, the midi size. I think it's a sunrise palette because I think that palette really does scream fall. And it would be on my list of fall palettes to use if I wasn't limiting it to just 10. The only reason it didn't make my top 10, it probably would have been number 11 on this list though, is because I feel like the quality in that palette was just, it was still good quality, but it wasn't at Natasha Denona level of quality that I usually expect in her palettes. So I think if you're paying that price, you do want it to be like her formula, and there's just something different about that palette in particular. But again, beautiful color story for fall, so that would be my number 11. But the Natasha Denona Bronze palette is really packing a punch, and I just think it's so beautiful. And again, you have those like beautiful browns and coppers, and oh my goodness, that one is hands down my favorite fall palette, I would say, is the Natasha Denona Bronze palette. But yeah, I mean, any of the palettes I just mentioned are going to give you a beautiful look in general, and they're going to be great for the fall time. Leave me a comment down below though, which of these palettes is your favorite? What do you already own? What do you think you're gonna buy? Just let me know. Or like, do you have another fall palette that you would recommend over these ones? Because eyeshadow and makeup is very different, and I might like something that you don't like, or you might like something that I don't like. So just let me know in the comments though, because I'm very curious. What is your favorite fall palette? Please like this video, subscribe to my channel. I upload on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so come and check me out another day. That sounds weird. Something just sounds weird about telling someone like, come check me out. Come watch me. Oh my goodness, we say some creepy freaking things on YouTube. Come watch my videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in my next video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.